Hi, society. Welcome to Real Talk. I'm so excited because I get to sit down today with the star, Eleonora Srugo. Hi, Eleonora. This is a full circle moment for me because when I met you, I was like, I'm going to get you into the Times. You're a star. So what's changed since the show? The show's out now. You guys can watch it on Netflix. It's amazing.
Yep, everyone watch the show.
It's so insane because to see a Selling Sunset franchise, but with women, like power females, it was so refreshing to see.
I've gotten busier.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Super tight. You know, I like to clean out my inbox at the end of every day. I like to respond to all messages. I'm the girl that likes to, I like to send the last text. I don't think I'm cooler because I left you on red.
Right.
I want to respond to everyone. So that has gotten harder for me because of the influx of messages and emails coming in. I'm just sleeping a little less. And then people like me, which is kind of cool because I didn't, I'm sort of used to people not really, or not knowing if they do or don't, or certainly not expressing it if they like me.
Do you feel like people know you now?
Maybe. Even people who have sort of known me for years on the scene or whatever are now like, oh, I get it. And they like me. They see eye to eye. They see me eye to eye. And obviously I have for years gone to the same trainer or hairstylist. I'm incredibly loyal in that way, but a lot of the women that run the businesses that I go to and support are like, oh, now I know I like this bitch is spending $1,000 a month. It's like she's here to look out for me and support me, and I do. I show a lot of love in actions and not so much with words sometimes.
But you definitely. I think in real estate, you have to look the part, and you definitely look the part, and you invest in that. I want to say, arriving to the show today, you got out of a cab and said you just met with Susan DeFranco, and you were going to tour a new development.
Yeah.
Has that changed for you? Has there been more business?
I do believe that a lot of it has positively reinforced those relationships with clients that I already have. They're very proud to be like, that's my broker, right? And so more comfortable posting, sharing, disclosing. I feel, with some people more confident in those relationships.
Okay, so let's talk about the show. Okay. What was your most cringeworthy moment where you were all, I wish they would have edited that out.
I repeat some things that Steve, we're at a lunch and Steve is like, my clients should follow me. And I'm like, yeah, they should follow you. I don't like that, because I obviously I can use my own words. And so I didn't love that. And there were a couple weird moments where I'm like, do I giggle like that or make that face? But otherwise, in terms of my behavior, I'm good with. I think I cursed a little too much.
Oh, okay. What about deleted scenes? Was there any deleted scene where you thought, I wish?
Yeah, there was a really cool scene that we shot with the mayor of New York.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
So that was cool. Look, obviously it's politics. It can go one way or another, and I can understand how that wouldn't be necessary. Ultimately, I'm happy it's not included because the show is really about me and my moment and the women, and I don't think we needed that. But just as sort of a friend and the symbolism, I don't care what opinion you have. I was here filming my Netflix show with the mayor of my favorite city in the world. And he's like, you should be mayor. And I was like, you should be really that was cool.
What was your favorite outfit? The fashion was insane.
My favorite outfit.
Mine was Britney Spears latex.
Yes, I do. Obviously, the latex.
It's unforgettable.
It's unforgettable.
People were like, why is she wearing latex to the office? They're like, because she's Eleonora.
Yeah, well, that's a great way for me to play, right? I certainly don't want to show body parts at the office.
No.
Completely covered. It's a latex turtleneck after all.
What should we expect from season 2? I know you're going to get a season 2.
Okay. So we haven't gotten one yet.
I know.
Look, I think a lot of time has passed between wrapping of season 1 and presumably when we'll start season 2. The dynamics have shifted. I will say that the team, we've now been a team for probably by the time season 2 years, right? So the relationships are deeper, they're stronger. That means the fights are bigger and more consequential. And then I've had to come into my own really as a manager, right? I am a sales agent. I think that's predominantly what the show is about, is that I've been a sales agent for 15 years, but I've never been a business owner or a manager of sorts. And now I have to deal with those challenges, especially with people who are all incredibly independent and have their own brands, their own identities.
Did you get any negative feedback from the show, and how did you turn it off?
I did. I got some negative feedback about my appearance, and a lot of people making assumptions about my political point of views, which, those were the big negatives. Some of them were about like being a micromanager. I come from a different generation, right? I come from like the school of the hard knocks. To me, like the most universal language is just like rolling up your sleeves and working. That is what I know. A long time ago when I got into real estate, someone was like, real estate is all about luck, and I was like, well, in my life, all I know is that if I work, I get results, right? So like, it's not about who I know and it's not about luck. It's about like what I put into it. That has been my golden rule of real estate. And so, that, I don't know, that's what I hope like translates, right? Ultimately.
Are there any like business mantras that you live by? Like, I don't know, suit up, show up, or
Not really, but I will say I'm like very proud to be a salesman. I know like there's a lot also conversations even from the first episode, like about chasing clients or, agents sometimes like to not call themselves real estate agents. They call themselves like advisors or consultants or like to try to like clean it up. I fully acknowledge the fact that I'm like a salesman and a salesman is not a doctor. It's not a lawyer. We don't have a trade or a skill. We are just who we are. That is all we have to offer the world. I take a lot of pride in that.
So could you sell me these sunglasses?
So these are the Tom Ford Christopher sunglasses.
Okay, they're very
nice. The best thing about a Tom Ford lens is that you actually like can't see your eyes for the most part.
I love that.
And that is really great when you're a New Yorker, like judging everybody, but like from a glimpse or out of the corner, there'll be a little reflection and then you'll get a partial glimpse of someone's beautiful eyes. The best thing I think about any sunglass, and I will tell you, this is universally looks good on most face shapes, is that the top is completely straight.
I love it. How many do we have left?
None.
That's awesome. Okay, so let's talk about the iconic profile. Here you go.
Yeah, this was, profile.
This was insane. This was last Sunday. I arrived in New York to my Sunday paper, and you were on the cover of the real estate section. I was so proud of you.
Honestly, this hasn't hit yet, really.
It goes by so fast. Like, it hit online first.
Yeah, which was already epic, the fact that we were like on the landing page.
And when you're in print, a lot of people don't know. You never know what the layout's going to be. We don't know until the day it hits. And so when I landed to your text messages, I was like, oh my God, she got the cover. But a lot of times the cover's split. And this was the this is a poster of the real estate section. And I was so proud of you because this shoot was so fun to do with you.
I just had the best. And
I remember you striking this pose, this power pose.
It's great.
So what was the reaction?
First of all,
Who told you first?
So, I was actually at a bris on Sunday. So Michael Lorber's son just had a son, and it was a bris, and so it was like a lot of that circle, the Upper East Side. So it was really like Howard Lorber, who was like great, like photo on the Times today, and I was like, what? And then the text messages started pouring in. So that was like very cool and exciting. And I just didn't look, to me, this isn't just the cover. This feels really like a poster. It was incredible, but really it's incredible for the entire cast. Every single member of the cast has a photo in the Sunday Times, which is a big deal. I love the headlines. I think that they're incredible. They're obviously great reporters. I lie about my age so often, but she got the right age. So, yeah.
You just don't know how this is going to turn out. And I remember I was like, I'm going to get you into the Times. But this, I have to think, is one of the best profiles we've secured.
Yeah. Look, this just really reminds me of like being, a kid. I'm gonna cry. But like being a kid and like doing your homework and like I didn't grow up with the internet. Like this is pre those days. This was your source to go and cut out and do your research and things like that. It's wild to think. And obviously, like the Sunday Times, there's no one who doesn't understand the significance of those sections and dreams of laying in bed with a nice intellectual partner and doing crosswords together. Like this is sort of it. So it's crazy to think that this landed on so many doorsteps.
I also think kudos to the New York Times and to Deborah Kamen for putting you so forward for women in real estate to see that. And there's a lot of powerful women in real estate.
Yeah.
But there's not a lot of young, powerful women in real estate. To see them uplifting women in this time was really wonderful. What is dating like in Manhattan? Because I haven't gotten to the dating yet. It seems like the guys are hotter than LA for sure. They have careers, but like, it seems hard. Is it harder?
Possible. So someone told me the other day there was like 4 single girls and 1 single straight male. I don't know if that's true, but I mean, it probably is because like I have 0 dating life.
Wow.
And nothing, and it's so funny. Everyone's like, how have your DMs been since the show? Like not active with men.
Do you feel like men are threatened by a powerful women or not in New York?
Of course, I think that like I think some men like to just like go to dinner and, know that like, no one's gonna cause any problems or just sort of be an accessory. But no, I think that there are men in New York that still want someone to have a sense of self. I do also think as a woman, it's important to maintain your femininity. And
do you think you can manifest your perfect man? Like, are you calling in what he looks like and what he does and what his characteristics are?
No. Look, dating is new to me. I feel like even though I'm like in my mid to late 30s, I feel like I'm still like in my early 20s. I feel like I've only been dating for like really 7 years now.
Right.
It's only been 7 years since I got reintroduced to this world. So I'm still sort of like learning, engaging, having fun with it, exploring different men and personality types. But yeah, it's certainly not easy. I'm very confident with real estate and my career. I'm not as confident in sort of like interpersonal relationships with men. So I'm not gonna like go out, put myself out there.
Next segment, Ready, Set, Srugo. We're gonna ask you some rapid fire questions about your career. What was the best piece of advice Howard Lorberg ever gave you?
Gosh, there are too many moments to name. I will say this about Howard. The best thing about him is that he was incredibly honest, empowering. I never had to go to sleep at night wondering if my company would undercut me in any way or compete against me. If there were someone else pitching something else that I was going after, I would know about it. There were no secrets. And he really allowed me to earn everything I ever achieved on my own. We would be at very important meetings or tables at pitches with developers or clients, and he always gave me a spotlight. So
who is an agent that you admire and you would want your team to emulate?
Okay, I as a woman, I'll say Sabrina Saltiel. I just think Sabrina is refined, professional, knowledgeable, honest. She's always, like, we've done several deals together, always leveled me up and sort of challenged me to meet the occasion. Adam Modlin, probably the most ethical agent I've ever worked with.
Love Adam.
Completely a friend to those in the industry, and real broker's broker, like tell you how it is, makes things happen, so kind, so gracious. And then obviously on my show, we have incredible agent Steve Gold. Can't go. Steve is like a young Adam, right? And like that
amazing.
Sort of very measured mannerism and humility. Oh, and Carrie Chang, we got to show her.
Carrie Chang.
Sorry, Carrie is like, I can name any building between 60th and 100 on between like the Park and 5th. And she like knows what that townhouse is.
Awesome.
And she has like books about it in her. If you've ever been to her office, like she just has a page about every single townhouse on the Upper East Side.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Will we see your team expand to Miami?
You will definitely, maybe, yeah.
I can see that for you.
So we're actually talking to some agents right now. I'm flying down to Miami next week. Yeah, we're very active right now in Jersey and in the Hamptons. So brother and sister there. I don't know who's who, but Jersey and the Hamptons we're very active in. Now we're doing some really big things in LA.
Jersey is definitely the brother.
Is it?
Hamptons is the sister. Yeah. What are you doing in LA?
I have a client that we just put on a $38 million house with an Element team out there. Obviously, it's mostly referral based, but we try to be as involved as possible, even on a referral base.
On the show, did you have any outfit malfunction?
The day that we filmed at Steve's property in Greenwich was incredible. The drone shots were epic, but it was a very hot day.
You looked hot.
And we have these things called walk-ups on the show, which, it's sort of having us walk up. And I love the walking, right? I love like you said, when you enter a room, you want to like have a presence. So I love doing my walk-ups and just like looking around at the beautiful scenery. But at Steve's house, it was like cobblestone and I was in really high heels. And I just could not get my walk up without like tripping and falling. And we did it like 100 times. It was so hot. It was so hot. I had like paper towels in my heels because I was sweating. I felt so bad for the crew. They were hot. They were like kept having to like stuff my heels with like new tissue paper. And then like I'm like trying to get this walk up without like dying. There's bees and wasps everywhere. And then I wore this top that just burst. Like I don't know, like it was a halter top and like the pin that was in the top just burst and like suddenly my top fell. So that was like probably the rough.
Wow.
But thank you to the crew. We had like super glue on set. And
so when you're entering a room with a bunch of men, how do you as a woman like command the room and take your spot?
You know, no one's really asking that, but I think part of maybe being a New Yorker is that I'm very aware of my surroundings, right? I like to have like, you know, home team advantage. I need to know where I stand with anyone. And by the way, this is in relationships too, right? You want to know where you stand. I think that gives you a lot of power. So certainly like knowing the room, knowing who's there. I don't like to go in blind.
Doing your research.
I'm actually, right, like I've always been that for like my friends, like even like the mayor, and then how I'm like that so-and-so, or to a client, I'm like that so-and-so.
Yes.
I tend to know who people are. I read, I'm aware, so that helps.
So know the room.
Know the room. Know who's going to be there, right? Like that gives you a lot of strength. Preparedness gives you strength. I really believe that in life. And then, you know, attitude-wise, I don't know. Netflix or great producers have taught me to like look around like I own the thing.
Yeah, for sure.
And it helps a little.
Do you sit at the head of the table or do you sit next to the most powerful person?
Yeah, I'm definitely not. I try not impose or be presumptuous. But like, yeah, you find a kind face. You find the smiley, nice, comforting face, and you stick to that.
There you go.
Yeah.
And last question, we have to talk about the monologue, your emotional monologue in the show, where I call it your monologue, where you just become completely vulnerable. The wall that we talked about, the Eleonora wall, comes down.
Yeah.
And you just dump it all out. What, did you know that was going to resonate with so many people?
No clue. I honestly, look, I didn't even know if it would make it. It was a very tough day. I mean, if you watch the show, it had been a lot of things had gone on the team at that point. I didn't know if I could keep going. I mean, everything was from the heart and the monologue ran true. I was investing in something, and sometimes you get to a point where you invest in something where like, and 99% you should walk away and cut your losses. But if you keep pouring into it, you are actually just making the problem worse for yourself, right? Like in life, you need to look at the things that are good for you and the things that are not good for you, whether they're relationships or money or business ventures. And you should always focus on the things that are feeding you. At that time, the team was just an investment that I kept, whether it's like photo shoots or the office or, you know, giving them leads and taking a loss. So like it was like pouring more and more into it. And I was just at a breaking point. And I didn't know how to explain that to them, to explain how good it was. How often do you get to join a team in real estate where not only do you have someone who's been on teams, who is going to be extraordinarily fair with a split, who's going to mentor you at 2 team meetings a week and give you time, but also like have you come out with them to like members club and put you at tables with CEOs and celebrities and give you access to that world. And then on top of it, and give you and put you on a show, right? Like there were so many things, right, that you get that so I needed to somehow draw that comparison.
But it reminded me of the Barbie monologue. It reminded me of that monologue. Yeah, is that true? With where America Ferrera was saying, it's hard to be a woman in a society, and then you took that further and you were like, look, it's hard to be a woman in business because no matter how successful you are, people will think that you did something to get yourself there instead of just work hard. Yeah. And that resonated with so many women in my office, my friends.
It's not something that I wear like a badge. I really try to be, we're all equal. I don't see gender. It's all the same. I can do whatever. But ignoring that is really ignoring a big part of my identity because I do. You know, there are moments where you see those differences, right? There are ways that I can be, look, I'm held to a different standard. Even if you just look at like other real estate bosses or the guys on the LA show, right? Like I get a lot of criticism for being a micromanager, asking the women about like fertility on my show. But I haven't seen much conversation about their, right? Like they have relationships, right, with women on their, right? So it's, and there are just different not that there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying like there are very different standards.
Okay.
And then, and in general, like I've been out with men who are like complete assholes to servers or, you know,
I
things
hate
like that. Or whatever, they're grumpy or the water's not right. But if I were to say like one thing, like I didn't order that, so there's a more of a weight to
it's
that.
objective.
Yeah,
for sure.
So
okay. Well, I've had a wonderful time talking to you.
Thank you
This
so
has been
much.
so good. I'm a huge fan. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of the show.
Thank you for everything that you have done for us too.
This was amazing.
This was
Rich, you were
clutch.
So if you guys want to know more about Eleanor's fashion, her business advice, her tips, and she's actually going to be releasing a few new things coming up in the next month, follow her at Eleonora Srugo on Instagram.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for watching Real Talk. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.